The Game Awards are almost upon us, and I'd like to start an annualized tradition with this video, in which I analyze and predict the winner of a specific category. This year, I'm starting with ActionAdventure, for a prime reason. It's the only category where I beat every nominee, so I guess not playing Elden Ring held me back from my choices. Regardless, in this video, I'm going to do a mini review of each nominee in the Action and Adventure categories. Now, the Game Awards don't make it clear whether this category is the game with the best action and adventure, or the best game that was an action-adventure. For the sake of a more focused analysis, I'm going to assume it's the former, and we'll be rating games in the two categories of action and adventure. Side note before we begin, I have published a more in-depth analysis of all these games except Forbidden West on the channel, so check them out if you like the video. Starting with A Plague Tale Requiem, the only game on this list where we don't explore the fictitious reaches of the developers' minds, instead we traverse a loving recreation of historical Europe. Requiem takes us not only on an adventure of the land, but also an adventure of mood. In the early game there's a peaceful serenity in the air. You can almost smell the warm breeze of the fields before your nostrils fill with smoke because everything is on fire. Yes, Requiem takes us up and down on the emotional spectrum. Unfortunately, it leans a little too far into the bleak and depressing. In those moments, the filthy apocalyptic environments represent that. If there were a criticism of Requiem's adventure, it would be that the game spends far too much time on Lacuna, so it feels like the journey grinds to a halt. Granted, it was our destination, but there was so much to be done on the island that it felt poorly paced. In terms of Requiem's action, they've expanded upon the combat from Innocence, and not much because Innocence barely had any combat, and Requiem still feels predominantly like a stealth game, and even then, the combat consists of running away to land a shot, and then running away again. It's exciting, but it's not entertaining. 3 out of 10 action, 7 out of 10 adventure. Stray is a game that I'm puzzled to see on this list, because it's not an action game. There's no combat whatsoever. The most action in Stray is pushing something off a ledge. Well, that's not entirely true. You do run away from things, but these sections are almost scripted. It's just holding a button and moving the stick. But Stray is most definitely an adventure game, and a great one at that. While I do prefer games that take us across multiple worlds and biomes, I'm also a sucker for going super in-depth to one location. There's a fitting way in which we explore the walled city. We begin in the trash heaps, beaten up and battered, before finding our way into the poorer slums. The people here seem happy, but there's a sense of depression in this cold town. The game then culminates in a dazzling city, complete with all manner of neon, yet despite the cheerful glow emanating from every direction, there's an air of hopelessness here too. Stray isn't a depressing game like Requiem, rather it's a somber one, and its world reflects that. Action NA, Adventure 8 out of 10. Horizon was the most gorgeous game this year, using a rich colour palette and exquisite lighting to create a picture-perfect realization of its rejuvenated Earth. It uses a vast array of biomes, and it doesn't randomly place them like a video game would. It makes sure there's a proper flow between each area. The seamless transition of mountaintops to rainforest isn't something most games could pull off, but Forbidden West does just that with flair. Not to mention the juxtaposition of natural beauty with decayed industrialism is something to behold. If I had just one tiny criticism of Forbidden West's world, it would be that exploring it from right to left makes the world feel like a linear path, and not a go-anywhere journey that I crave from open-world games. Forbidden West's action is just as gorgeous, with towering foes and devastating blows. I love how you need to scrounge together whatever you can in order to take down these mechanical monstrosities. But you run out of ammo so often and need to adapt your weapons so frequently that it kills the pacing of most fights, and the struggle for survival turns into a turn-based RPG. Forbidden West is immaculate, but it didn't address the central issue I had with Zero Dawn. Action 8 out of 10, Adventure 9 out of 10. I want to tell you how fantastic Tunic is, but I can't. You might think, it's just a Zelda-like with a fox, I don't care about spoilers, but believe me, you do. Tunic is a deceptive game, and that's all I'm going to say other than urge you to play it, as it should be up for Game of the Year instead of Requiem or Stray. But Tunic's happy forest setting is delightfully calming and invigorating, as you want to clear this cheerful adventure just to see the little fox succeed. It's utterly charming. Okay, I seriously want to spoil it, but I'm not going to, so I'll move on to the combat. It's a little bare. You have your attack, dodge, and a block button, all things any Zelda-like needs, but it doesn't really make for exciting combat, even in Zelda itself. What makes Zelda games have fantastic combat are the bosses, and Tunic's are spectacular. Some of the bosses' sheer scale and intensity are legendary. I beat this game with sweaty hands and a smile on my face. This is one of the best games of the year. Action 7 out of 10, Adventure 11 out of 10. Tunic may be one of the best games of the year, but there can only be one best game of the year, and that's God of War Ragnarok. What do I even need to say about the action? It's ferocious, it's gleaming, it's emotional, it's the best combat of the decade, with all manner of fantasy opponents and epic boss battles to test it out on. As for the adventure, by Odin's beard, they tripled the quality from last time. Every realm is now available, and aside from an over-reliance of ice realms, they're all insanely unique. The deserts of Alfheim, the forests of Vanaheim, and the volcanoes of Muspelheim. Each of them is its own style of epic sweeping lands. While they're still not as open as I'd like them to be, this is an adventure across the multiverse, and the only one worthy of winning not only Best Action Adventure, but Game of the Year itself. Action 11 out of 10, Adventure 10 out of 10.